The Galactic Empire stretched across 1,000 stars. Its fleets were countless, its power unmatched, and its council chambers echoed with the voices of rulers who believed no world could ever challenge them. But on one quiet cycle, as the council gathered in their towering spire above the capital world, a transmission appeared. It was not a routine report. It was not an ally's request. It was something far stranger. The signal was encrypted with a method older than the Empire itself. For a long moment, the vast chamber filled with static, a broken hiss that made alien diplomats shift uncomfortably in their seats. Then a voice emerged. It was deep, steady, unfamiliar, yet carrying a weight that silenced the chamber at once. "This is Earth. You will not approach. This is your only warning." The voice cut through the static like a blade. No demands, no explanations, only a warning. The councillors, beings of scaled skin, feathered crests, and silver chitin, glanced at one another. Then laughter broke across the room. "Earth?" One delegate scoffed, his ridged mandibles clacking. "That world is dust, a forgotten rock, a myth used to frighten hatchlings." Others joined him, mocking the message. One tapped the star map, highlighting the Sol system. An isolated world. No colonies, no fleet, no threat. Some scavenger is playing tricks, yet not all were laughing. Chancellor Veyron, a reptilian elder whose eyes had seen centuries of war, leaned forward. His scaled fingers tapped the table in unease. "That encryption," he said slowly. "It predates even our records." That voice was not fabricated. "Someone alive is transmitting from Earth." Silence followed. The council chamber, vast and ornate, seemed to tighten as the thought took hold. Earth. The name lingered like a shadow. Most of them had dismissed it as legend. A world once feared, then forgotten. But now, that same world spoke with confidence. A junior officer entered the chamber, his pale skin glistening under the chamber lights. He carried a holopad, his breathing sharp. "High Councillors, forgive my interruption." The transmission repeated 3 times before vanishing. "The source is confirmed. Sol system, Earth." The laughter died. Only nervous whispers remained. "They cannot possibly resist us," said one councillor, though his voice lacked strength. "One fleet will be enough to crush them," but Chancellor Veyron did not look convinced. His golden eyes studied the map as he spoke. "One does not send a warning unless one can enforce it. If Earth has survived in silence for this long, then something shields it. Something powerful." The chamber lights dimmed as the signal replayed for analysis. The councillors leaned forward, their faces illuminated by the flickering words. "This is Earth. You will not approach. This is your only warning. No emotion, no weakness, just certainty." A murmur spread. "How dare they speak so to the Empire? It is a bluff. We will teach them fear." The Emperor's voice, a tall insectoid figure robed in crimson, slammed his staff against the floor. The sound echoed like thunder. "Enough! If this Earth dares to send threats, then they will be reminded of the true order of the stars. Dispatch a reconnaissance fleet. If it is nothing, we erase them. If it is something, we crush them." The decision was final. Across the galaxy, a scout armada of swift warships prepared to enter slipspace. Their orders were simple: approach Earth, scan its defenses, and return with proof of weakness. Hours later, the Council received the first transmission from the fleet. Static hissed, broken by frantic voices. "They are here! Ships of black steel, enormous, they are everywhere." "Weapons," the transmission cut. The chamber froze. Every councillor stared at the dead screen. Some hissed in disbelief. Others whispered prayers in their own tongues. "Impossible," muttered one. "No fleet that size could exist unseen." Another transmission came, this one only an image. A single warship filled the display. Its hull was black as night, its design unlike anything in the Empire's archives. It dwarfed the scout fleet, casting them in shadow like insects before a predator. Strange symbols, ancient and sharp, were etched across its surface. Then the image went dark. The council chamber erupted in chaos. Some demanded immediate retaliation. Others begged for caution. A few whispered what none dared to speak aloud. Humanity had returned. Chancellor Veyron rose slowly, his voice carrying over the storm. We have woken something that should have remained silent. Earth is not defenseless. It never was. At that moment, the signal from Earth returned, cutting across every channel in the chamber. The voice was the same as before, calm and final. You were warned. Do not cross Earth, the signal ended. The chamber plunged into silence once again. The counselors, who once laughed, now stared at the glowing coordinates of Sol pulsing red on the star map. And then, without warning, every light in the chamber flickered. The holographic map expanded, showing not only Earth, but hundreds of points around it. Ships, a formation of enormous warships cloaked until now. The Black Fleet. The last thing the counselors saw before the signal cut was Earth itself, rising blue and bright behind the wall of dreadnoughts. The chamber fell into stunned silence, and the galaxy understood one thing. Something ancient had awakened. The council chamber had not been this silent in centuries. The last image of Earth's Black Fleet still lingered in their minds. Vast ships of black steel, bigger than anything in the Empire, surrounding a single blue planet. The message was clear. Humanity was alive. Humanity was strong, and humanity had just issued a warning to the galaxy, but not all believed. Councillor Reth, a hulking reptilian whose crest glowed red with anger, slammed his fist against the table. We are the Galactic Empire. We do not bend to ghosts. Earth is a primitive world. They cannot match us. His words found supporters. Voices rose in agreement. Yes, this is a trick. They hid in the dark for too long. Their fleet must be an illusion. Others disagreed. Thin, feathered Councillor Shira leaned forward, her beak clicking nervously. Illusion. Then how did they destroy the scout fleet? How did they transmit across half the galaxy with encryption older than our own records? No illusion can kill ships. No trick can silence an entire armada. The debate grew louder. Some demanded war. Some demanded retreat. The chamber filled with a storm of voices until Chancellor Veyran stood. His scaled hand lifted and the noise slowly faded. You fools, he hissed softly. Do you not see? We know nothing about them. That is the danger. A power we cannot measure is worse than any open enemy, but Reth sneered. You sound afraid, Chancellor. Perhaps Earth frightens you. They do not frighten me. They say we burn their planet until only ashes remain. A chorus of support followed him. Yet others whispered doubts. Even the Emperor's voice, the insectoid robed in crimson, shifted uneasily on his throne. His staff tapped against the floor as he spoke. Both sides make their case. But I will remind you, the Empire has not faced defeat in 500 years. If Earth seeks to defy us, then we must know their strength. The question is not whether to act. It is how. The Council called for intelligence. Historians and archivists were summoned. Dusty records, sealed for centuries, were dragged into the light. Old data crystals flickered alive, projecting images across the chamber. The Council gasped. The archives revealed ancient wars. Long before the Empire rose, long before their species ruled the stars, there was humanity. The images showed burning worlds, entire fleets shattered. Human soldiers in dark armor stormed alien fortresses with fire in their eyes. Human ships, massive and sharp-edged, swarmed like predators. They fought with precision, speed, and fury that the archives described in one word: unstoppable. They nearly destroyed the Auric Dominion, one archivist explained with a trembling voice. They broke the Valkyrie clans in a single generation, and the First Empire itself, our predecessor, fell because of them. Humanity waged war across the stars until the galaxy united to banish them. The Council stared. Reth shook his head in disbelief. If this is true, then why are they not ruling us now? Why did they vanish? The answer was buried in the last archive, a final entry. It showed Earth burning, human fleets retreating, vanishing into the void. A voice, old and heavy, spoke from the record. We choose exile. We choose silence. Let the galaxy forget us, or face us again. And then nothing. The record ended. The chamber dimmed. Silence pressed against every wall. Shira's feathers bristled. They chose to disappear. They were never defeated. They left on their own terms. And now they return. The words settled like cold stone. The Council was divided. Some feared humanity's return. Others refused to believe. Anger boiled. Voices clashed. Threats were spoken. Allies broke into factions. In the middle of the storm, the chamber's lights flickered. A shadow moved across the central floor. The guards stiffened, and then without warning a figure stepped forward. It was not alien. It was human. The figure wore a dark suit that shimmered as if woven from shadows. His face was hidden beneath a helmet, smooth and black, but his voice was clear. "The Black Fleet has awakened." Gasps echoed across the chamber. Guards drew weapons, but the figure stood calm, unmoving. "We warned you once. You ignored it. Now you debate while fleets vanish. Humanity does not seek conquest. We seek only one thing: leave Earth untouched, or suffer the fate of those who forget." Before the guards could fire, the figure dissolved into sparks of light, vanishing like smoke. The chamber shook with panic. Some shouted for war. Others screamed for retreat. The council was no longer united. And far away, in the depths of space, reports arrived of more fleets vanishing near Sol, entire armadas gone without a trace. The Empire had underestimated Earth, and for the first time in centuries, the Council felt fear. The scout fleet sent to Sol had gone silent. Not one ship returned. The Galactic Empire, proud and unshaken for centuries, now faced whispers of fear in every hall of power. In the council chamber, a final message arrived. The chamber filled with static, then a scream. Alien voices shouted over alarms. "They are here!" Shadows in the dark. Enormous ships. Weapons! The image broke into chaos. Explosions lit the screen. A blinding flash ended the transmission. Silence fell. Then one last fragment appeared. A single image burned into the recording before the ship was destroyed. A warship. It was not like the sleek cruisers of the Empire. This one was a Leviathan. Its black steel hull stretched longer than a city, bristling with weapons. Strange runes were etched into its armor, glowing faintly with cold blue light. Entire wings of the Empire's fleet looked like insects beside it. Gasps and shouts broke across the chamber. Some councillors stood frozen, staring in disbelief. Others hissed that it was impossible. Chancellor Veyron whispered one word. "Humanity!" The Emperor's voice slammed his staff. "Lies, trickery, one ship cannot stand against an empire." But even as he spoke, another report came. More fleets were gone. Only fragments of transmissions remained. Each showed the same thing. Black ships sliding out of void space, weapons firing with precision. Alien fleets shattered in minutes. The Black Fleet had appeared. Across the Empire, panic spread. Commanders scrambled to rally defenses. Citizens whispered of ancient monsters returned. Merchants closed trade routes near Sol, fearing death in the shadows. The council met again in haste. Voices clashed like blades. "They cannot be allowed to rise again. We must send the Grand Armada." "Fools! You would throw ships into the void to be slaughtered." "If we do nothing, we look weak." At the height of the storm, the chamber lights flickered once more. Then across every hollow screen a face appeared. It was human. The man's eyes were cold, his face scarred. His uniform bore no insignia except a single mark. Earth's symbol, a blue and white circle with a dark star in the center. His voice was calm, steady, and merciless. "You ignored our warning. You sent fleets. They are gone. Now we give you a second message. Leave Earth untouched, or face extinction." The council erupted in rage. Reth, the reptilian councillor, snarled with fury. "You dare threaten the Empire. You are nothing. Your fleet is nothing. We will burn your world to ash." The human's eyes never moved. His voice never rose. "We do not threaten. We promise." The transmission ended. The chamber shook with voices. Some demanded immediate war. Some whispered of surrender. And in the shadows fear grew, for even now more fleets were vanishing. In every report, the same massive ships appeared. They did not fight with chaos. They fought with precision, like hunters. They struck weak points, destroyed command ships, then vanished before counterattack. It was not random. It was strategy. It was war. The Empire's High Admiral, a towering insectoid with emerald wings, finally stood. His voice was cold. "If humanity seeks to test us, then we shall test them. The Grand Armada will march. We will crush this black fleet." But Chancellor Veyron rose in protest. "You are blind. This is not arrogance we face. This is preparation. Humanity has waited for centuries. Their ships are beyond ours. Their weapons unknown. You will march our fleets to slaughter." The chamber split. The Empire itself was breaking apart, and while they argued, a final report arrived. It was not a cry for help. It was not a recording of destruction. It was a live transmission, the hollow screen lit with the stars above Sol. Slowly, a shadow moved into view. It was a dreadnought, larger than any ship the Empire had built. Its hull was black steel, runes glowing like fire. Weapons lined its surface, more than any fleet could count. The ship turned, revealing a barrel the size of a mountain. A single cannon. Energy began to gather at its core. The council leaned forward in fear as the weapon fired. A beam of white light tore across space. It struck a fortress moon that orbited near Sol. The moon, a fortress built to withstand centuries of siege, erupted in an instant. Light consumed it, breaking it into fire and dust. When the glare faded, only debris remained. A single shot had destroyed it. The chamber shook with terror, and then the human voice returned. "Leave Earth untouched. This is your final warning." The dreadnought turned, its massive frame sliding back into void space. The Black Fleet vanished with it, leaving only silence. In the council chamber, no one spoke. No one laughed. No one dared. The Empire had just seen its first defeat in centuries, the destruction of the fortress moon, spread across the galaxy like wildfire. For the first time in living memory, the Empire had been struck, and it had not been struck by rebels or raiders, but by humanity. In the council chamber, fear turned into chaos. Some shouted for surrender. Others demanded the Grand Armada be unleashed at once. But Chancellor Veyron spoke above them all. "Enough. We argue like children. We know nothing of humanity's strength, nothing of their numbers, nothing of their purpose. If we are blind, we are already defeated." Reluctantly, the Emperor's voice ordered the release of forbidden archives. For centuries they had been locked, sealed away by decree. Now glowing data crystals were placed into the chamber's core. Ancient records flickered to life. The first images showed stars burning. Entire fleets of alien warships shattered into pieces. A tide of human vessels, sleek and dark, poured across the galaxy. Their dreadnoughts dwarfed all others. Their soldiers stormed fortresses with brutal efficiency. The council watched in silence as world after world fell. "These," the archivist whispered, "are records of the War of Silence. Long before our empire, when humanity ruled the stars with fire," one councillor's voice cracked. "They fought everyone?" The archivist nodded. "Every empire that rose, they crushed. The Auric Dominion, the Valkyrie clans, even the First Empire. One by one, humanity destroyed them. The images shifted. Human soldiers, clad in black armor, raised banners over conquered cities. Their eyes burned with determination. Their fleets surrounded alien capitals. They were unstoppable, the archivist said. "For every fleet we built, they built 10. For every weapon we made, they made better. No one could resist them," Councillor Reth hissed in disbelief. "If that is true, then why are they not here still? Why do they not already rule us?" The answer lay in the final crystal. The last record flickered. It showed Earth itself, a shining blue planet surrounded by the Black Fleet. Human leaders stood before alien envoys. Their faces were grim, their words steady. "We choose exile," the ancient voice declared. "We choose silence. The galaxy will forget us or face us again." The image faded into darkness. The chamber remained silent. Not even the Emperor's voice spoke. The truth was heavier than chains. Humanity had not been defeated. They had walked away. Chancellor Veyron's voice broke the silence. "You see now? They left by choice. They sealed themselves away. And now, after centuries, they return. We are not their first enemy. We will not be their last," whispers spread. Some councillors trembled. Others shouted in anger. "They are demons!" one cried. If we do nothing, they will conquer again. No, another countered. They warned us. They seek only to protect their world. They destroyed a fortress moon in one shot. What if that shot was meant for our capital? The arguments grew wild. The council chamber nearly erupted into violence. Then the lights dimmed. A shadow flickered across the chamber floor. Guards turned, weapons raised, and there he stood, a human. He wore the same black armor as before, a figure wreathed in faint blue light. His face remained hidden beneath a smooth helmet, but his voice cut through the chamber like a blade. You dig into your past. You uncover truths you do not understand. But know this, the Black Fleet has awakened. Gasps echoed. Guards aimed weapons, but none fired. The human stepped closer, his movements calm, deliberate. We do not seek your empire. We do not seek conquest. We seek only silence. Leave Earth untouched. Honor the exile we chose. If you do not, then you will see the war your ancestors feared. His voice dropped lower, colder. You will see extinction. Before anyone could act, the figure dissolved into sparks of light, vanishing as suddenly as he had appeared. The chamber fell into chaos. Some shouted to prepare armies. Others whispered that resistance was hopeless. The council was breaking apart. Reports began to pour in. Fleets near Sol were gone. Trade routes around the human system had collapsed. Entire sectors were silent. The Black Fleet was not hiding anymore. It was moving, and somewhere in the deep void, alien scouts reported something even worse. A massive human armada, larger than anything yet seen, was gathering. Ships by the thousands, weapons glowing with power no one understood. The Council realized with dread humanity was preparing for war. The archives had shaken the Empire to its core. The truth was now undeniable. Humanity had once ruled the stars, not as kings but as destroyers. They had erased empires, broken fleets, and then vanished by choice. Now they had returned, and their Black Fleet was awake. The council chamber no longer echoed with laughter. It trembled with fear and fury. Councillor Reth rose, his reptilian crest glowing blood-red. We cannot hide in fear. If we bend to their threats, the galaxy will see weakness. The Empire survives by strength. We must strike first. We must show humanity they are nothing against us. Others shouted in agreement. The chamber shook with pounding fists and snarls. Chancellor Veyran stood slowly, his golden eyes hard. You speak of striking first, yet every fleet we send is destroyed. Do you not understand? Humanity is not weak. They are waiting for us to make the wrong move. If we march unprepared, we walk into their jaws. But the Emperor's voice silenced them both. His staff slammed against the floor, the sound like thunder. Enough! We are the Empire. We will not cower. The Grand Armada will assemble. Every world will send ships. Every forge will burn. Humanity will drown beneath our strength. The decision was final. Across the galaxy, the call to war thundered. On distant worlds, foundries roared to life. Fleets of silver and crimson warships lifted into orbit, banners of the Empire blazing. Alien soldiers, armored in bright scales, stood in endless rows, chanting war cries that shook the ground. The Grand Armada swelled into millions, the largest force the Empire had ever gathered. But in the dark silence of the Sol system, humanity prepared too. Over Earth, colossal shipyards came alive. Railguns longer than mountains were loaded onto warships. Orbital cannons turned their barrels toward the stars. Mechs, the size of towers, marched across assembly lines. Billions of human soldiers trained without rest, armored in black steel, their faces hidden behind helmets of shadow. Unlike the Empire, they made no speeches. They raised no banners. Their silence was louder than any war cry. The Black Fleet grew. In the void beyond Pluto, thousands of dreadnoughts gathered, each one larger than cities. They slid into formation, black hulls gleaming faintly under the light of distant stars. Cloaked escorts vanished into the dark, ready to strike unseen. The humans called it Operation Eclipse. On Earth's surface, Commanders watched from control towers as ships rose from oceans, deserts, and hidden bunkers. Ancient vessels, preserved for centuries, returned to the sky. Their hulls bore scars from forgotten wars, yet their weapons hummed with new power. "Humanity does not seek war," one commander said quietly as she watched the sky fill with steel. "But if war comes, we will end it." The Empire's Grand Armada entered slipspace, its colossal form tearing across the galaxy. Countless warships, carriers, and dreadnoughts marched toward Sol. Their commanders boasted victory before the battle began. To them, humanity was a myth made real, and myths could be slain. But far from their fleets, scouts reported silence. Whole systems near Sol were empty. No trade ships, no colonies, no communication. It was as if the void itself had been cleared. The humans were preparing a battlefield. When the council reconvened, reports of fear spread across the chamber. Merchants whispered of ports closing. Soldiers told stories of black ships slipping through shadows. Even the most loyal citizens began to question the Empire's power. Veyron stood once more. "You do not see the trap. Humanity has prepared for this moment for centuries. Their fleets do not fight in the open. They strike from the dark. They will bleed us until nothing remains," Reth snarled back. "Then let them come. We will crush them in fire." But deep down, even Reth could not forget the image of the fortress moon, destroyed in one shot. The tension broke when the chamber's holoscreens lit once more. This time it was not a human soldier, not a threat, but the void above Earth itself. The Empire's scouts had broken through. The image showed Earth, blue and green, shining below. Above it, thousands of black warships drifted in silence. Their formations stretched across the stars like a wall of shadow, and at their center, one ship dwarfed them all, a dreadnought of impossible size, so vast it blotted out the planet's light. Its surface glowed with ancient runes, its hull armored with plates thicker than fortresses. The feed cut, but not before a single message reached the Empire's networks. A human voice, calm and merciless, echoed through every channel. "Operation Eclipse has begun." The Empire's fleets were already in motion. The Black Fleet was waiting. The war for Earth was about to begin. The Grand Armada emerged from slipspace like a tidal wave of fire. Millions of ships spread across the void, silver hulls gleaming, banners of the Empire burning bright. Their commanders cheered, confident that no fleet could stand against such power, but the void above Sol was silent. At first, the Armada saw nothing. No human ships, no defenses. Only the blue planet below, shining softly in the dark. Admiral Kryn, wings shimmering with pride, laughed across the command channel. "They hide. They fear us. Today we erase Earth from the stars." Then the shadows moved. One by one, the stars disappeared, swallowed by black steel. The Black Fleet uncloaked. Thousands of dreadnoughts slid into view, their runes glowing with cold blue light. Silent escorts emerged like predators, weaving through the Armada's formation. The humans did not roar, they did not shout, they simply moved into formation, calm and precise. Admiral Kryn's laughter died. "Fire!" The void erupted. The Empire unleashed everything at once. Plasma cannons burned white, missile storms screamed through the dark, and railguns fired with thunderous force. Space itself seemed to ignite as the Armada poured its rage at the human wall. But humanity had prepared. The Black Fleet returned fire with precision. Every shot struck a command ship, every missile found a weak point. Railguns the size of mountains fired slugs faster than light, tearing through cruisers like paper. Cloaked vessels appeared inside the Armada's formation, unleashing bursts of void lances that sliced entire wings apart. The Empire fought bravely, but their numbers meant nothing. In the first hour, 1,000 ships vanished. In the second, 10,000 more. Each time the Armada regrouped, another ambush shattered their lines. The humans struck like hunters, then vanished back into the dark. Reports flooded the Empire's command channel. Enemy on our flank, shields collapsing, they are behind us, dreadnought approaching, we cannot hold. Admiral Kryn screamed for his fleets to hold formation, but formation was impossible. The Armada was bleeding, and the Black Fleet was merciless. On Earth, civilians watched from cities as the sky lit with fire. Colossal streaks of light burned across the night, each one a battle far above. Humanity did not panic. They knew this day would come. They had prepared for it for centuries. In orbit, human commanders gave no speeches. Their orders were short and sharp. Target carriers, disable their engines, strike hard, vanish fast. Dreadnought formation, fire rail batteries. Do not miss. The Empire's fleets, though massive, could not match the precision. For every 10 ships they destroyed, humanity destroyed 100. Yet the Empire was not broken. They had brought a weapon of their own. From the heart of the Armada, a massive vessel drifted forward. It was no ordinary warship. It was the Sunbreaker, a superweapon built to destroy planets. Its central cannon glowed with fire, brighter than any star. Admiral Kryn's voice shook with triumph. Let them fear this. Let Earth burn. The cannon charged. Energy gathered in its core, brighter and brighter, until the void itself trembled. The Black Fleet turned its guns toward it, but their shots glanced harmlessly off the vessel's shields. The beam fired. A blinding white lance tore across the void, aimed directly at Earth. Human commanders shouted orders. Ships scrambled to intercept, but the weapon was too fast, too powerful. The beam streaked closer and closer, cutting through anything in its path. And then one dreadnought moved. The largest ship of the Black Fleet, its runes blazing brighter than ever, drifted directly into the beam's path. Its shields flared, its armor burned, and fire consumed its hull. The dreadnought shook under the impact, metal breaking, decks collapsing, but it held. The beam never reached Earth. On the planet below, people stared at the sky as the heavens burned, their defenders shielding them with their very lives. Inside the council chamber far across the galaxy, the live feed stunned every delegate into silence. Humanity had sacrificed one of its greatest ships to protect their homeworld, and then the dreadnought, scarred but unbroken, roared back, its cannons charged with dark matter. With a single shot, it struck the Sunbreaker. The superweapon split apart, erupting into a firestorm that consumed half the Empire's command fleet. The void was filled with light, brighter than any sun. When the fire faded, the Black Fleet remained. The Grand Armada was in chaos, thousands of ships destroyed, their ultimate weapon gone, and Earth still stood untouched. On the command channel, a human voice echoed clear and cold. You will not harm Earth. You were warned. The Empire's commanders felt the truth settle into their bones. For the first time in history, the Empire was losing. The void was still burning from the Sunbreaker's destruction. Broken ships drifted like corpses, their fires casting long shadows across the battlefield. The Grand Armada, once the pride of the Empire, had been torn apart in hours. But the Black Fleet did not celebrate. They did not slow. Their dreadnoughts moved in silence, hunting survivors with ruthless precision. On the Empire's command channel, panic reigned. Our formation is broken. Carriers destroyed. The Sunbreaker is gone. Admiral Kryn's voice roared above the chaos. We will not flee. Hold your ground. The Empire does not break. Yet even as he spoke, ships were vanishing by the hundreds. Humanity fought like ghosts, appearing where they were least expected, striking with deadly accuracy and vanishing into the dark. On Earth, cities watched the skies blaze with fire. Children clung to parents, elders stood silently, and soldiers waited in bunkers for the order to join the fight. Every soul knew the truth. This was only the beginning. Inside the Galactic Council chamber, silence held. Delegates stared at the feed of the battle, their faces pale with fear. The Empire, invincible for centuries, was being broken before their eyes. Councillor Reth slammed his clawed fist on the table. This is a disaster. If the Armada falls, the entire Empire collapses. We must demand a ceasefire before we are all destroyed. But Chancellor Veyron shook his head. Do you think humanity will accept words now? They gave their warning. The Empire ignored it. They will finish this war. The chamber filled with shouts, but no one noticed the Emperor's voice standing silent, his staff pressed tightly against the floor. His golden eyes watched the screen, as if he knew the truth already. The Empire's era was ending. Back on the battlefield, the humans unveiled their next weapon. From the edge of the system, colossal ships emerged. They were unlike anything seen before. Planet killers, armored like worlds, bristling with cannons larger than cities. Their surfaces glowed with crimson light as they drifted into formation. Operation Eclipse had reached its next stage. The human commanders gave no speeches. One order echoed across the Black Fleet. Unleash the Eclipse cannons. The planet killers fired, lances of energy, black at their core and burning with fire at the edges, shot across the void. They pierced through the Armada's remaining dreadnoughts as if they were paper. Entire wings of ships exploded in silence, erased in seconds. The Armada fractured. Some captains fled into slipspace, others fought to the end, and many were caught in the crossfire. Within minutes, millions of ships had been reduced to wreckage. Admiral Kryn watched in horror as his fleet disintegrated. He bared his fangs and screamed into the void. "I will not surrender. I will tear Earth apart myself." His flagship turned, engines blazing, heading straight for the planet below. The Black Fleet intercepted. Dreadnoughts swarmed, bombarding his ship from every side, but Kryn pushed through. Shields shattered, hull cracked, but his vessel charged on like a beast driven mad. His target was clear, Earth itself. On the planet's surface, alarms blared. Civilians were ordered into shelters. Orbital cannons turned upward, preparing to fire. Humanity would not allow a single enemy to touch their world. Kryn's flagship pierced the final line of defense. He laughed, wild and broken. "If I burn, Earth burns with me." But then the sky itself split. A shadow darker than night fell across the battlefield. A ship emerged, larger than even the planet killers, larger than anything alive had ever seen. It blotted out the stars, its hull carved with ancient runes, its presence radiating dread. The council chamber froze as the image reached them. The Emperor's voice whispered words none wished to hear. "That is their flagship." The titanic vessel moved with slow, terrifying grace. Its weapons charged, glowing brighter than suns. Grin's flagship, once a predator, now looked like an insect before a storm. The human commander's voice echoed across every channel, calm and final. "You will not touch Earth. Not now. Not ever." The flagship fired. Light consumed Kryn's ship, tearing it apart in one instant. His scream never finished. Nothing remained but drifting ash. Silence followed. The Grand Armada was gone. The Empire's might was broken, but the humans did not withdraw. Their fleet turned slowly toward the wider galaxy. The message was clear. Earth was safe. But the war was not over. In the council chamber, fear rippled like a wave. For the first time in living memory, the Empire had been shattered, and humanity was moving forward. The battlefield around Earth was silent. The wreckage of millions of ships drifted like a graveyard, broken hulls turning slowly in the void. The Grand Armada was gone. The Empire, undefeated for centuries, had been shattered in a single campaign, but humanity was not finished. The Black Fleet held its formation, weapons still hot, cannons still glowing. Their titanic flagship loomed above Earth, a shadow that blocked the stars. Its runes burned with ancient power, its presence heavy like a storm before the strike. Across the galaxy, every world held its breath. Citizens watched the feeds in silence. Soldiers stood frozen in barracks. Rulers sat in their palaces, their hearts pounding. For the first time, the question spread across every empire, every council, every home. What would humanity do now? In the council chamber, fear choked the air. Delegates shouted at one another, desperate for answers. "They will invade us next. We must surrender." "No, fight. If we beg, they will enslave us." The Emperor's voice slammed his staff against the floor. The sound cut through the chaos like a blade. "Silence, listen, for they are about to speak." And then, across every channel, every screen, every broadcast in the galaxy, the humans appeared. A single figure stood before the camera. He wore black armor marked with silver, his face hidden behind a mask shaped like a human skull. Behind him, the colossal flagship glowed with fire, silent and immovable. His voice was calm, steady, and merciless. "You were warned." The galaxy trembled at those words. "You were told never to cross Earth, never to test us, never to wake the Black Fleet. You chose war. You brought your armadas to our home. And now they are gone." The feed showed the wreckage around Sol, millions of broken ships drifting like dust. You thought yourselves rulers of the stars. You thought humanity weak, forgotten, broken. You were wrong. We do not seek conquest. We do not seek your worlds. We do not seek your thrones. The masked figure leaned closer, his voice dropping lower. We seek only this. Earth will never kneel. Humanity will never fall. Harm us and you will be erased. Cross us again, and we will burn your empires to ash." The silence that followed was heavier than any explosion. In the council chamber, many could not breathe. Councillor Reth shook his head slowly, crest dim with fear. "They are not asking. They are declaring." Chancellor Varen's voice was soft, almost respectful. "This is not a war for territory. It is a warning for eternity." Back in the feed, the human commander raised his hand. Behind him, the flagship's runes flared with light. The Black Fleet shifted formation, their colossal weapons glowing once more. "Look upon your dead," the voice said. "Count your losses. Remember this day, for if you forget, if you tempt us again, the next time will not end here. The next time we will not stop at defense." The feed cut. The stars returned to silence. The Black Fleet, having spoken, drifted back into the void. One by one their ships cloaked, vanishing into darkness. The flagship was the last to fade, its runes burning like embers before vanishing completely. And just like that, humanity was gone. The galaxy remained frozen in fear. No one moved. No one spoke. On every world, leaders whispered the same words: "Never cross Earth." In the council chamber, the Emperor's voice finally lowered his staff. His golden eyes flickered with something no one had ever seen in him before. "Respect. The age of the Empire has ended," he said quietly. "The age of humanity has begun. On Earth the skies cleared, fires in orbit dimmed. Civilians emerged from shelters. Soldiers lowered their rifles. Children looked up at the stars, not with fear, but with pride. They had seen the Black Fleet defend their world. They had seen humanity rise again. The war was over, but the message would never be forgotten. Across the galaxy, on every channel, in every language, the warning spread like fire. Never cross Earth. The end.